What is up, down, and sideways, all you beautiful individuals? It is another Rep of League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you fine folks to talk about a rarity that happens on the Rift. In a single best of three, we somehow saw a 3-0 happen in the LCK. For whatever reason, the scoreboard and the history books aren't going to recognize it as that, but that's basically what we saw in this T1 Hanwha Life matchup.
It's the 3-0 that was never a 3-0 type of situation. But yes, T1, a definitive and dominant performance against Hanwha Life. Very much a rebound from the loss against KT Rolster last week. T1 responds resoundingly with this performance and with this effort against Hanwha Life.
Yeah, and we talked about what is this trend? Is this Hanwha picking up the momentum heading in to the playoffs? Is it T1 kind of stumbling into playoffs? Well, it's definitely not that, because it kicks off with an Omega Stomp out of T1. Doran has some of the filthiest Rumble ultis that you will see in a game. He continues to get the father buff of playing opposite Zeus in some of these matchups. And I will say, credit to Hanwha Life in Game 2, because this looked like it was going to be a quick 2-0 in the favor of T1, and Zeka actually has a pretty fantastic Talia game in Game 2 to get them back in from the 7k gold deficit.
Is the Talia pick the magic one? Is that the kryptonite for T1 at this moment? The thing that can make them have a stumble, trip them up just a little bit, enough to take away one game, possibly a series, as we saw with KT Rolster? But I don't think that's the true answer here. I think it was just simply, again, another strong performance from Zeka, finding a way to equalize this series within a game that, yes, T1 had a lot of their opportunities, a lot of their own advantages and good plays going on to try and close out this series. But it's going to a Game 3. And let me tell you, Game 3 on the docket, T1, Hanwha Life, feeling a little bit of pressure, a little bit antsy, knowing again, needing, is this going to be that answer, the response to losing to KT, or is this more so of the same and going to be this slumping downward trend for T1 that we have occasionally seen throughout various splits, summers, whatever, over the last couple of years? You got that answer, and it comes in big from your man Doran that you talked about throughout earlier in the series, having that response for T1.
Yeah, and really everyone had a response in Game 3 for T1, despite, what could be tilting loss in that second game. They obviously lost a little bit of focus, didn't keep the pedal to the metal as Hanwha gets back. Just finished praising Zeka. He loses all that clout on the Akali game in this third one. An iconic pick for him, but definitely a bit of a disrespectful performance going in 1v2, not expecting the GOAT to be able to flash out of an Akali ulti. There were multiple plays he was cooking a little bit too hard. It may have burned himself and Hanwha, but really the story of that third game is a near perfect performance out of Faker on the Orianna. How about 100% kill participation on it? Always impressive to see. And Kyria on Bard continues to be an absolute masterclass, and really the Poppy and the Bard game deserving player of the match for Kyria in this series.
A well-timed response from Kyria, as we've been going kind of overboard and feeling the excitement and the love for Duro with Gen G.
Yep.
Kyria reminds us who is the top dog, the top support within the region of the LCK, with some of these performances as you laid out. The Poppy in Game 1, the Bard in Game 3, really finding that level of success. And I think the other important one to look at is, yes, Faker in the mid lane. I think when you were looking at that KT series individually, someone that was certainly well targeted, not that is any surprise for him throughout his career, but was an effective strategy. So to see his performance rebound, knowing that, okay, Galio, Orianna, Azir is rising up in popularity in this meta, things are shaping up for the unkillable Demon King heading towards playoffs.
Aside from that stint where, 80 carries mid were super meta, it feels like we've always been like, this meta's great for Faker. Over like 10 years, it's been, this meta's great for him, except for that one little blip. So yeah, definitely entering that era. Even though they lost that game too, there were still some spicy realm warps that we know T1 and the boys have become synonymous with for some Baron sneaks. But yeah, you're feeling like it was a blip against KT, especially after seeing this series, and you're legitimately getting a little bit concerned about Hanwha Life individually. Some of their performances, Delight was obviously a glaring difference between Kyria in this series. Zeka had some suspect moments, and even Zeus being on an Ornn in Game 3, you're kind of thinking, is this what this roster is all about?
Yeah, that was one of the alarm bells going off when I saw that, thinking about this Hanwha Life team and where they are and where they need to be to contend with the T1s, with the Gen Gs that are hanging around here in the LCK. And that is, again, of course, understanding that the expectations, the goals, the sights for this Hanwha Life team is not just to be, oh, we're runner up to the T1s and the Gen Gs. It's to be a T1, to be a Gen G, one of the top dogs of the region. And not having these performances, not having this form right now is very clear with these individual players, because we know we can access you. They can get to that type of level of form, that level of contribution that pushes that team into that upper stratosphere of the LCK. But right now, I think this is more so a descending flight than ascending one right now for Hanwha Life.
And even with this head-to-head win and T1 clearly being the better, more consistent team, at least in split 3 that we're looking at, Hanwha's still probably going to pick up the second seed in this split or season, because T1 needs to either beat Genji in their final match or Nongshim has to beat Hanwha Life. Nongshim, I don't know which is more likely to happen, but both seem pretty unlikely.
And I think we can kind of, down the line, wherever it is, thank KT Roaster for this, because them getting the upset against T1 really has given the shift within the LCK that allows this last week to have the implications that it will. And you're right. I do think that at the end of the day, it's either going to come down to, yes, T1 has to bet on themselves beating a Gen G and leveling up and earning something like that, or it is one of those ones where it is an upset from Nongshim against a Hanwha Life. I think this is still going to be that picture where you're earning and gaining that advantage over T1 based off of spring and a little, whatever remnants of summer that spring that played into it, winter and spring, getting all these splits mixed up here that we have to go
There's too many,
through.
man. Too many now. Different names.
But it's one of those ones where you're seeing T1, Gen G, continue their peak level of form from that spring-summer window into this, moving towards Worlds and playoffs. Haven't seen the same from this Hanwha Life throughout this entirety of this upper bracket run throughout the LCK, excuse me.
Honestly, Hanwha Life looks like the team that's been burnt out, been going through so many international, and they didn't even go. I know they went to EWC, but they didn't even go to MSI. It feels like they're the ones kind of in the slump. Was a little strange to see, even if T1 finishes third, by the way. We know seeding does not matter for a team like T1. They will be a terrifying playoff matchup for any team in the LCK. I'll even include Gen G in that. A little bit of LPL, housekeeping. We had some... I'm not going to say surprise as well, a little bit of a surprise to see anyone's legend get absolutely slapped around by World Elite, who, yes, are better than their record shows with double-digit losses because they've been going against the top dogs in the LPL. And I know this was a kind of meaningless matchup for anyone's legend in terms of seeding, but still, this was an absolute dud on the Rift from the defending champs.
And just talking about Talia being a pick, I don't think it's a pick for Shanks to make it work out here for anyone's legend. That was not a good performance, and especially, again, understanding what is the competition, who is on the other side, and who is doing this to you. That's not a good look for this anyone's legend squad. One that had been picking up some steam, rebounding from what had been a slumbering, slow, lazy, lethargic, however many adjectives you want to throw in there, start to the summer split. So this is a slight hiccup, one of these type of ones I'd say comparable to looking at T1 dropping to KT, a little bit more extreme, understanding where WE is within the LPL. But still one of these ones where it's going to be that response game that I'm waiting for. Is it going to be a continuation of some of these struggles, issues, mistakes, or was this a blip and that you are resetting type of situation is how I feel anyone's legend has at least deserved that from enough people in the community, and certainly a crazy equation that equals out here in the LPL when you realize WE with this 3-11 record has got a win against the last place team and last splits champions now in anyone's legend falling in this type of way. Only things the LPL can deliver to you.
Only things the LPL can do with this wacky format, especially making that happen. But, AL will take it with the grain of salt because, again, it's not a very high stakes match. JDG was also on the match against Weibo, and JDG continues to have zero confidence to it still in this squad. And I mean, okay, maybe they're matching up against LGD and they can get a win in the play-in stage to qualify for the main playoffs, but I have zero faith in this team against any of the teams in this top group in the LPL, or even a squad like NIP or EDG.
You've been shown absolutely no reason to believe in this type of squad right now for JDG and the efforts that they've been putting out. Some consequence of this matchup with Weibo, of course, because Weibo locks up that 5th spot and pushing JDG to that matchup with LGD. But still, I have seen nothing in the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, frankly, from JDG to tell me that it is going to be a different story once you enter into these playoff rounds. And especially, again, Scout in the mid lane is a major problem for this team. His performance, his effort value, it is not anywhere close to being acceptable, or even to a level that we have seen from him in his career and could say is familiar or whatever. This is a bad struggle period.
Well, it's one thing to compare it to the MVP World Championship level that we get out of Scout and say you're not up to that standard. Right now, he's not even up the standard of like a starting LPL mid laner on a potentially contending team, or even just a middle of the tier playoff team.
I'm telling you, pick up the phone, Hong Q. He's calling. JDG, that JDG cash is there. Don't pick up the phone.
How many zeros is on that contract? Oh.
Ignore the phone call. Stay with the CFO. That's what we need to have happen. But yes, I think that you are right about seeing that with Scout, that his level is not even at that type of one. So it is a major pain point, and certainly one that has some emotions and some history to it, knowing the individual player and his career and everything. But when you're asking for performance at the end of the day and looking for JDG to prove that they can be a contending team within the LPL, his performance in the mid lane is dragging them down unquestionably.
Next round of LPL finally getting going. Thursday is the final day of regular season action before we're finally going to move into some of the playoffs in the LPL, which feels like it's been an absolute marathon here in the summer split over in China. But that is it today for Liga Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you. Absolutely stunning individuals. Thanks so much for hanging out. As always, we'll catch you on that flippity flip.